Hello, welcome to News Now on TV360. I am Fidelia Aguncha. As the world celebrates the International Women's Day, parents of abducted girls staged a protest in Abuja, the nation's capital, demanding the rescue of their daughters. It's been 17 days since 110 girls were abducted from their school in Dapchi local government area of Yobe State by suspected Boko Haram insurgents. Family members of the abducted schoolgirls, accompanied by other Dapchi villagers on Thursday, marched the streets of the federal capital bearing banners and placards with various inscriptions. They want the government to intensify efforts geared towards the rescue of the girls aged between 11 and 19 years. Despite joint rescue operations by the military and Air Force, the girls are yet to be found. The Nigerian Senate has moved to investigate an alleged plot to sack Senate President Bukola Saraki, his deputy Ike Ekweremadu, and other leaders of the chamber. The decision was reached following a point of order raised by Senator representing Ebonyi Central, Obinna Ogba. Obinna alleged that some members were plotting to mobilize civil society and trade groups to protest against the Senate leadership. Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petition has now been mandated to probe these allegations. Meanwhile, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has indefinitely adjourned the trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki. The trial was adjourned by Chairman of the Tribunal, Danladi Umar, on the call of the Defense Counsel, Kanu Agabi. Agabi had prayed the court for an adjournment pending the decision of Saraki's appeal at the Supreme Court. The trial was adjourned despite objection from the prosecuting counsel, led by Rotimi Jacob San. Saraki is being retried at the CCT on a 3-count charge of false asset declaration filed against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The alleged mastermind of the 2010 Independence Day bombing, Charles Oka, has been sentenced to life imprisonment. Oka was convicted alongside Obi Nwabweze on charges related to terrorism. The Judge Justice Gabriel Kolawole found both men guilty of the 2010 Independence Day bombing in Abuja that killed at least 12 people and wounded over 17 others. They were also found guilty of the March 15, 2010 bomb blast, which claimed 1 life in Warri, Delta State.
The judge so far, justice has been done, and we are so happy to for it. It may have taken 8 years, but the will and will of justice will still take its place. So the long and short of it is that justice has been done, and I praise the courage of the judge for the 7-8 years to have gone through this and to deliver this judgment for about 5 or 6 hours, going through all the issues that have been raised. I think we are very, very satisfied with the judgment.
It's a right that is it is the right of the convicts right now. It's their right to go as high as the Supreme Court. Is their right. So if their instruction is to go upstairs, I think we will naturally.
President Muhammadu Buhari is currently in Jos, Plateau State capital, on a 1-day official visit. The president, who was received by the state's governor Simon Lalong, among other top officials of the state, is expected to hold a town hall meeting with some community leaders. He will also commission some projects in the state during his stay. Plateau is one of the worst affected states in the farmers' headache crisis in the country. The UK is to pay for a new wing in one of Nigeria's largest prisons to help expedite the transfer of offenders from British jails. Up to £700,000 will be spent on a 112-bed annex in Kirikiri prison in the country's largest city of Lagos. Foreign Secretary Boris Johnson said it would enable eligible Nigerian inmates serving time in the UK to return home to complete their sentences. The UK and Nigeria signed a prisoner transfer agreement in 2014. It means citizens of one who commit crimes in the other will serve sentences in their homeland. The Lagos State government has extended the deadline for taxpayers to enjoy the 15% discount in the reviewed land use charge law to April 14, 2018. This was disclosed by the State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Kehinde Bamigbeton, at a press briefing on Wednesday. The law enacted in 2001 provides for an upward review every 5 years. However, the state government had not carried out any review of the law up until 2017, when it was reviewed by the current administration. The review of the law has generated angry reactions from many stakeholders, and the state governor, Akinwumi Ambode, has said he is open to dialogue. As the 2019 general election draws near, the People's Democratic Party has urged all Nigerians to get their voters' card to enable them express their electoral rights. The party made the call on Thursday at its annual General Assembly, which took place in Ojota, Lagos State. Speaking at the event, chairman of the PDP Lagos chapter, Moshood Salvador, said an aggressive grassroots voter mobilization campaign holds the key to the removal of the governing APC at the ballot in 2019. He also condemned the new Lagos Land Use Charge Law, saying it will only increase the hardship of residents living in the state.
People of Lagos, it's so clear to them that they can never get anything good from APC. It is so clear. Look at the new land use decree. Land use law. They just brought out now. So inhuman law. That is part of what we're talking about. They should go and get their PVC so that we can vote them out.
Well, as you can see, it's a form of mobilization for us to know ourselves, for us to reinforce. It is PDP, Lagos State, and we are trying to put a face to ourselves after the whole past rancor, which we all knew happened in the party at large. You can see the massive crowd, you can see the turnout. It shows that the people made a form of, formidable, opposition in the party at large. And the fact remains that the People's Democratic Party is the only party that can actually explain and showcase true democracy in Nigeria today.
Union members of the Investment and Security Tribunal, under the affiliate of the Nigeria Labour Congress, has demanded the immediate removal of the chairman of the tribunal, Isaiah Idoku Ako, over what they describe as high-handedness, disregard for civil service rules, and corrupt practices. The protesting staff of the tribunal besieged the entrance of the Federal Ministry of Finance, singing and displaying different placards to explain their mission to the minister. They alleged gross misconduct, nepotism, violation of the public procurement rule, and corrupt practices against the chairman of the tribunal.
Clear backlog of promotion. He's not interested in doing that. He's seconding people to fill vacancies meant for people who are over-eligible for promotion. Most people here have been on one grade level for over 10 years. The same chairman who has rendered these people redundant is now complaining that they are redundant. So the first thing he did when he came was to recruit people illegally. We protested. Your ministry directed him to reverse. He said he has done so on paper, but they are still there. We said, clear backlog of promotion. He said, no, that there are other considerations which are alien to the public service rules, which he said must come into play regarding the promotion of staff. As I talk to you, I've been on one grade level for 8 years. That is stagnation, man. There's no other name for it. Some of my colleagues here have been on one grade level for 10 years.
We went to National Assembly and also presented our own paper, saying that we want the powers given to the minister to be retained, because this is a special court. And as a special court, you can't be telling us that you want us to go to the judiciary where one judge will be sitting. It will not be different from the Federal High Court. The same cases will be piling up. As a tribunal, we are given 90 days to dispense with cases. But that is not their interest. We beg you in the name of God to save the economy and the capital market. We don't have, there are very few, after even the appointment now, some of the part-time members who have no business in the day-to-day running of the tribunal, who are members of his cartel, sit every day on management meetings with him. And they have paid. He said they are on special official assignments. So what they draw, these two part-time members, is also equivalent to the salaries of the full-time members, just because they work with him. A lot of illegalities. Some who can't say before the press here. We are begging the minister, let her please invoke her powers.
Led to by the acting permanent secretary of the Ministry of Finance, who assured them that the ministry is looking into the matter.
You are aware that this ministry has taken several steps to mitigate the challenges being faced by IST as an organization. This ministry is doing everything possible to ensure that justice is done concerning your tribe.
People to get only 10 people to register to vote, 10 new voters. Each of us standing here today, when you get back home, when you get to your place of work, your school, try and get 10 new people that do not have their PPC to register to vote. We're going to take on our website onevoice.ng, onevoice.ng. Please go there, give us the information. If you get 10 people to vote, then you're amongst us.
So at least start with your voter's card and begin to use that to bargain about the type of person you want to see on February 16, 2019 and March 2nd on the ballot paper.
So we want to focus on people who haven't voted before. It's 100,000 people who are looking to pledge that because that gives us a minimum of 1 million new voters.
Instead of to say, my vote no go count now, try vote first, maybe you see whether it will count, you know.
Glad to have you back. Meanwhile, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has advised Nigerians to increase excise tax and monetary policy rate in a bid to strengthen the economy. The global lender said Nigeria needed more ambitious tax policy measures, such as reforming the value-added tax, increasing excise, and rationalizing tax incentives. An excise tax is an indirect tax paid on goods. It is paid by the manufacturer, who then passes it on to the consumer by including it in the price of the item. Nigeria's economy, which slipped into its worst recession in 25 years, exited with a 0.83 GDP growth in 2017. Nigeria's Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has blamed the delay in the passage of the 2018 budget on the National Assembly. The federal government had set a deadline of January 2018 for the passage of the budget, but 2 months after the expiration of that deadline, there has been no progress. The Senate and the executive have both traded blames on who is responsible for the delay. The lawmakers blame government ministries, departments, and agencies for the delay, but the executive has insisted that is not true. In a chat with TV360, Osinbajo said the executive has done its part properly and blames the delay on the lawmakers.
I believe that the executive had done its part by ensuring that the budget proposals were presented to Senate, to the National Assembly, as we planned in October of 2017. But what you find, of course, as you probably know, is that the Senate and the National Assembly tend to spend a bit of time on scrutinizing the budget and all of that. And unfortunately, that seems to be dragging, seems to be taking a while. The best you can do, I mean, don't forget that this is almost entirely in the hands of the National Assembly now. The best we can do is to exhort and to meet whenever we're invited, whenever members of the executive are invited to, speak to the budget, make presentations and all of that. And also to engage with senior members of the National Assembly to try and see how we can resolve whatever log jams or whatever difficulties there are. So there is, a fair amount of effort going in that direction. But I suppose that one of the critical things is that we made the effort, and especially the executive, we made the effort of ensuring that we delivered the budget, the proposals in good time. But we haven't, I suppose, it's been a bit more difficult for the National Assembly to deliver on its own part of the deal.
The Vice President also spoke on the rise in Nigeria's GDP figures. Some analysts have cited the low contribution of non-oil sector as a flaw in the growth of the economy. However, Shivajo has said the non-oil sector is also contributing massively to the economy.
Well, I think we're already beginning to see it. As you can imagine, I mean, the easiest source of revenue today is oil. But oil is not a major contributor to GDP. But oil drives the non-oil sector also because it's a major source of revenue. But what you are seeing also from the GDP is that you are seeing a greater contribution of agriculture. Much greater contribution. In fact, it is 0.82%. You see that agriculture is making a much more significant contribution. Mining is also making a much more significant contribution. Now, in relative terms, you will find that will grow as we push along with our policies on agriculture, our policies on mining and manufacturing and all that. And many of what we're trying to do is exactly to present that diversification. Look at agriculture. The agro-allied industry is something that's important to us. That's why we're encouraging the agro-allied industry as much as we can. We already are doing in rice, for example. We're already doing, in terms of just production of paddy rice, we're doing way in excess of what is required. What we now need is milling. So the value chain needs to be satisfied. And a lot of private sector support is coming into milling. We're seeing Walcott, Olam, Dangote, several of the UMSA, several of the, the millers, the rice millers and all of that are investing far more now than ever before. So we expect to see more growth as you see more jobs, right? Especially in the agro-allied thing. And that will begin to reflect more on the overall GDP. Same as retail, same as services. You can't divert an economy, in 2 years, especially an economy that has practically lived on a monoproduct such as oil. But I think that we're making the most significant effort in all of the years, that we've been talking about diversification of the economy. We're making the most significant effort, especially in the areas of agriculture, mining, and all of that.
U.S. Secretary of State Rex Tillerson has urged African countries to weigh Chinese loans carefully and be wary of its loan facilities. Tillerson, who is on a week-long visit to Africa, said China, quote, encouraged dependency, utilized corrupt deals, and endangered Africa's natural resources, end of quote. He, however, stated that Washington was not trying to keep Chinese investment away from the continent. Tillerson, a former Exxon chief executive, is seeking to bolster economic and security alliances on a continent increasingly turning to China for aid and trade. Congolese Prime Minister Bruno Shibala on Thursday said the country's presidential election, slated for December 2018, remains on course. If successful, the election will bring an end to the long reign of President Joseph Kabila. Repeated stalling of the election has raised tension across the vast Central African country, triggering street protests and encouraging armed rebellions. Kabila was due to step down when his mandate expired at the end of 2016, but has so far refused to do so. The Russian government has denied meddling in Zimbabwe politics to ensure the re-election of Emmerson Mnangagwa. Speaking during an official visit to the southern African country, Russian Foreign Affairs Minister Sergei Lavrov dismissed allegations of his country assisting Mnangagwa to remain in power in the upcoming presidential election. The development comes days after Mnangagwa signed cyber agents to conduct warfare on social media websites. No date has been fixed for the upcoming presidential election, which will determine if Mnangagwa's reign will be short-lived. The World Cup arrived in Abuja on Wednesday as part of its tour of nations that will be represented in Russia ahead of the World Cup. It was unveiled to media and sport personalities at the Transcorp Hilton in Abuja by FIFA representatives and Nigeria's football chief Amaju Pinnick. Nigeria was hailed for its huge football growth, and the FIFA representatives noted that this was the sole reason the trophy will be taken to both Lagos and Abuja.
Finally making its landing in Nigeria. The FIFA World Cup has been touring the globe as part of activities to generate a buzz around the FIFA World Cup tournament slated for Russia in July. The trophy is expected to go through 91 cities across 51 countries in all of the world's 6 continents. Nigeria is the latest stop of its African tour. It flew into the country from Kampala, Uganda. This is the first time the trophy will be coming to Nigeria since 2010, when the tournament was hosted in South Africa. Unlike most countries, Nigerians will have the rare privilege of hosting the trophy in 2 cities, Lagos and Abuja.
Welcome the FIFA World Cup Trophy Tour to Nigeria. And just to remind everyone, this is for the 3rd time. The last time we were in was in 2010. So we come back again. With today's Trophy Tour event, we are inviting fans across Nigeria to get ready for the highly anticipated FIFA World Cup, for giving them once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get up close to the trophy, and they can take pictures, photographs, but they can't touch the trophy, as the MC explained. The trophy will travel 91 cities, and it starts from Russia. It started 4th of September. For a couple of months it was in Russia, post which it started the global phase, traveling to different countries. So Nigeria is one of those countries today. That's what we have. All the countries get the trophy for 1 city normally. So Nigeria is one special case where we have it for 2 cities. We have it for Abuja and Lagos.
Nigeria is one of 5 African countries representing the continent at the 2018 edition of the showpiece. The managing director of Nigeria Bottling Company, sponsors of the tour, is tipping the Super Eagles of Nigeria to put in a big performance in Russia.
I am very optimistic on what this amazing team can do, and I am very, very optimistic because it is fueled by this amazing passion about football that this amazing nation has. I thought that in Greece we are crazy about football, but when I came to this part of the world, I understood what passion means. I understood what does it mean to love this game. So Nigeria deserves to have this trophy here, deserves to celebrate its presence here, deserves to have a great victories from the Super Eagles.
After this media briefing, the trophy was presented to President Muhammadu Buhari at the presidential villa. The president pledged to give the national team all the support to do well in Russia. Nigeria has never made it past the 2nd round of the World Cup. However, with a new look team, some sports analysts are optimistic of the Eagles' chances in Russia.
Well, everybody wants the team to do well. Going far, that's another question, begging for answer. But we expect that the Super Eagles shouldn't do bad, shouldn't go beyond, or should go beyond what they did in the 2014 Brazil. They got to the round of 16. At this time that we have a new coach doing well, and we qualify well for the World Cup, we should expect them to go beyond the round of 16 and at least get to the quarterfinals this time around.
For the trophy coming here, it's a way of giving us, a kind of motivation that we can win it. Because those that won it, they don't have 2 heads. So coming to Africa, coming to Nigeria, meaning that it's a way of motivation that we can win this trophy. And that is what I've seen. And seeing it has already motivated me. And I know the players will be moved. I'm telling you, we'll go places.
The 2018 World Cup begins in Moscow on Thursday, July 14, 2018. But before the start of the global tournament, the trophy is expected to go through 17 other countries before arriving in Vladivostok, Russia, on May 1st. The next stop is Dakar, the capital of Senegal.
Nigeria's Super Falconets have been drawn in Group D for the Under-20 Women World Cup that will hold in France this August. They will battle Germany, China, and Haiti to get to the quarterfinal of the tournament. Their first match will be against Germany on August 6th. Nigeria's best outing in the competition is a second-place finish in the 2010 and 2014 editions. Juventus coach Massimiliano Allegri has hailed the patience shown by his side as the key reason behind their Champions League win at Tottenham. The Serie A champions came from behind to seal a 2-1 victory at Wembley on Wednesday, moving into the quarterfinals 4-3 on aggregate. Argentina international Gonzalo Higuain and Paulo Dybala struck in the space of 3 seconds half minutes to turn the tie around. Well, that's it on News Now. Thanks for watching. I am Fidelia Aguncha.